This first story was sent to me by a guy named Marcus. He said this happened to him about 4 years ago, late in November. Marcus was driving home from his cousin's place around midnight. He lived in a small town surrounded by farmland and forest. The fastest way home was a long stretch called County Road 12. At night, it was empty. No streetlights, no houses, just trees and open fields. About 10 minutes into the drive, he noticed fog starting to roll in. At first it was light, just a thin layer over the road. But within a few minutes, it got thick. Not normal fog either. This was the kind that swallowed your headlights. Marcus said it felt like driving into a white wall. He slowed down to maybe 20 miles per hour. There were no other cars around, no taillights ahead, no headlights behind. Then his radio started cutting out. It wasn't playing music clearly anymore. It was just static. He tried changing stations, but every channel was just that same soft, hissing noise. That's when he noticed something strange. There was a figure on the side of the road. At first, he thought it was a mailbox or a sign, but as he got closer, he saw the outline of a person standing just beyond the fog line, completely still. He couldn't make out details, just a tall shape. Marcus said his first thought was that someone's car must have broken down, but he didn't see any vehicle nearby. As he passed, he glanced at the figure through his window. It was facing him, not waving, not moving, just standing there, head tilted slightly. He felt a chill run down his back. He kept driving. About 30 seconds later, he saw another figure. This one was on the opposite side of the road. Same thing, completely still, facing the road. Now he was getting nervous. There was no reason for people to just stand out there in the middle of nowhere, especially in heavy fog, and no one had flashlights. No one was signaling for help, just standing. Marcus locked his doors. A few minutes passed. The fog got even thicker. Then something happened that made his stomach drop. He saw headlights in his rearview mirror. That wouldn't normally be strange, except the road behind him had been completely empty, and the headlights were too close, almost right on his bumper. He couldn't even remember seeing them approach. He pressed the gas slightly, going faster despite the fog. The headlights stayed right behind him. No horn, no attempt to pass, just following. He tried to make out the shape of the car in his mirror, but all he could see were two bright beams glowing through the mist. Then suddenly, they disappeared. Not like they turned off, they just vanished. The road behind him was empty again. Marcus said that's when he realized something worse. The fog wasn't just around his car anymore, it was inside. He could see a faint haze forming on the passenger seat, like thin smoke curling through the air. He rolled down his window slightly, thinking maybe it was condensation. As he did, he heard something. Footsteps, right outside his car. Slow steps, keeping pace with him. He froze. He was still moving. The car was rolling forward, but it sounded like someone was walking right next to his driver's side door. Step, step, step. He didn't look. He was too scared to look. Then he heard a soft knock on his window. 3 taps. He slammed on the gas. The car fishtailed slightly on the damp road, but he didn't care. He just sped forward until he finally saw the faint glow of a gas station up ahead. As soon as he entered the lit area, the fog cleared instantly, just like that. The air inside his car was normal again. No haze, no footsteps. He pulled into the gas station, shaking. The weird part? There was no fog anywhere else. Not in the parking lot, not down the connecting road. It was like the fog had only existed on County Road 12. Marcus refuses to drive that road at night now. And sometimes, when the weather forecast says it'll be clear, people in that town still talk about random patches of thick fog that show up without warning, right on that stretch of road. The second story comes from a woman named Claire. She and her boyfriend went hiking in early spring at a state park known for its scenic overlook. The trail was popular during the day, but they decided to go late in the afternoon to avoid crowds. Big mistake. About halfway up the trail, fog began drifting in from the valley below. It looked beautiful at first. The trees disappeared slowly into white mist. Everything felt quiet and peaceful. Too quiet. Claire said the birds stopped chirping completely. Even their footsteps sounded strange, muffled by the damp air. They decided to turn back, but when they did, the trail didn't look the same. The familiar landmarks were gone. The signposts they remembered passing weren't there anymore. Her boyfriend checked his phone for GPS, no signal. They kept walking downhill, assuming that would lead them back to the parking lot. After about 15 minutes, Claire heard something behind them, a twig snapping. She turned around quickly. Nothing but fog and trees. Probably a deer, her boyfriend said. They kept moving. Then they heard it again, closer this time. Another snap, and a low, dragging sound, like something heavy being pulled across dirt. They both stopped walking. "Hello?" her boyfriend called out. No answer, just the faint sound of breathing. Not theirs. Something ahead of them shifted in the fog, a shape, tall and thin, standing between the trees. Claire said she felt her chest tighten. It wasn't moving like a normal person. It was swaying slightly, almost like it was hanging. Her boyfriend stepped in front of her protectively. "Hey, we're lost!" he shouted. The figure didn't respond. Then it started moving toward them, but not walking. It was gliding, slowly, without lifting its legs. Claire grabbed her boyfriend's arm. They backed up. The shape stopped. Then it suddenly appeared closer. Not gradually, just closer, as if the fog had swallowed the distance between them. That's when they ran. They didn't care about the trail anymore. They just pushed through branches and brush. Claire said she could hear it behind them now. Branches snapping, that dragging sound again, and something else, whispering, soft, broken whispers that didn't sound like any language she knew. Her boyfriend tripped at one point, scraping his arm badly. She helped him up, and they kept running until they finally burst out into a clearing. The parking lot. It was almost empty. They ran to their car, locked the doors, and just sat there breathing heavily. The fog was still thick around the trees. Then Claire noticed something. There was someone standing near the edge of the parking lot, watching them. A park ranger. At least, it looked like one. He was wearing a dark uniform, hat pulled low, but he wasn't moving, just staring. Her boyfriend rolled down the window slightly. "Are the trails closed?" he asked. No response. The ranger's head slowly tilted to one side, and Claire realized something horrifying. His feet weren't touching the ground. He was hovering slightly above the pavement. Her boyfriend slammed the window shut and started the engine. As they pulled away, Claire looked in the side mirror. The parking lot was empty. No ranger, no fog, just clear air and sunlight fading into evening. They later checked the park's website. The trail they had taken had been officially closed for over a year due to unstable terrain. And according to local news archives, a ranger had gone missing in that exact area 3 years earlier. His body was never found. This last story was sent anonymously. The writer said he was 16 at the time. He used to take the early morning bus to school around 6 a.m. It was still dark outside most days. One morning in late December, there was heavy fog everywhere. The streetlights barely cut through it. He stood alone at the bus stop near his house. Normally, there were 2 other kids there, but that day, no one else showed up. The fog felt thick and damp. It soaked into his hoodie. After a few minutes, he heard footsteps behind him. He assumed it was one of the other kids running late, but when he turned around, he saw an old woman standing a few feet away. He hadn't heard her approach. She was wearing a long gray coat and holding something in her hands. She smiled at him, not a warm smile, a stiff one. "Waiting for the bus?" she asked softly. Her voice sounded dry, like wind through dead leaves. "Yeah," he replied. She stepped closer, too close. He noticed she was holding a small pocket watch. The glass was cracked. "It's always late when the fog comes," she said. He tried to laugh politely. She looked past him toward the road. "You shouldn't get on it today." That made him uncomfortable. "Why?" he asked. She slowly turned her head back toward him. "Because it won't stop." A cold wave ran through him. Before he could respond, headlights appeared through the fog. The bus. Relief washed over him. He turned back to the woman. She was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just gone. The bus pulled up with a hiss of brakes. The doors opened. The driver looked pale. "You getting on?" he asked. The teen hesitated. He glanced around one more time. No sign of the woman. He stepped onto the bus. It felt colder inside than outside. There were only a few passengers sitting scattered throughout, all silent, all staring forward. The bus doors closed. It started driving. After a few minutes, he noticed something strange. They hadn't made any stops. They passed his school. He stood up. You missed it," he said. The driver didn't respond, didn't even blink. He walked closer. That's when he saw the driver's eyes. They were completely white. No pupils, no color. Just blank. The road outside the windshield was gone. There was only fog, endless white fog. The other passengers slowly turned their heads toward him in perfect unison. Every single one of them had the same blank white eyes. The bus kept moving, but there was no sound of tires on pavement anymore, just silence. Then he felt a hand on his shoulder. He spun around. It was the old woman from the bus stop. standing in the aisle, smiling. "I told you," she whispered. He blacked out. He woke up lying on the sidewalk near the bus stop. It was 7:30 a.m., clear skies. His normal bus was pulling up. The regular driver leaned out the window. "You getting on or what?" He looked around frantically. No old woman, no strange bus, just his usual quiet street. He never told anyone about it, but every time there's heavy fog in the morning, he waits inside. Because sometimes, just before sunrise, he swears he can see headlights forming in the mist, waiting. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.